It has been said that the heart and soul of every great city is its river. Since the city of Detroit's founding by Frenchman Antoine de la Mothe Cadillac some 300 years ago, the Detroit River has provided residents with the lifeblood of commerce, culture, and recreation, reflecting the evolution of Detroit from a remote trading outpost to agricultural community to industrial epicenter. Throughout those 3 centuries, the Detroit River has always held a special place in the hearts of the city's dwellers.
Well, the Detroit River has been the focal point of this region for 300 years, and I think that we now have an opportunity to bring back the memories and the reverence of the river.
We need to uncover an asset that we really have kept hidden for too long.
You could see people fishing, the kids would come down, watch the ships go by.
We're enormously fortunate in Detroit that we have one of the most beautiful waterfronts to be developed.
I think the river has always been the symbolic heart of the city of Detroit. The city was founded at the river's edge 300 years ago. It's always been the most significant feature of the city of Detroit, this beautiful international waterway.
Today, some areas adjoining the Detroit riverfront have been affected by urban blight, preventing area residents and visitors alike from enjoying the beauty and majesty of this great American heritage river. Now, as Detroit enters its 4th century, a bold, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to rebuild the city's historic riverfront and transform the surrounding area is becoming a reality. Based on the recommendations of the East Riverfront Study Group, appointed by Detroit Mayor Kwame M. Kilpatrick, and the vision of internationally renowned planners, Detroit's riverfront will be recreated into a vibrant neighborhood of interconnected recreational, residential, and commercial developments, with activities and attractions to enhance a new community where people work, live, and play. The foundation for this transformation is a 3-mile Detroit River Walk, enabling people to run, walk, bike, or skate along the river's edge from Joe Louis Arena to Belle Isle's MacArthur Bridge. Additional aspects of the vision include 3 great civic parks: Hart Plaza, where the riverfront will be more accessible and user-friendly; the first Michigan State Park ever to be located in an urban area; and mixed-use development for the current Uniroyal site, including parkland, residential, and retail developments. The vision also integrates the current Civic Center promenade and embraces existing oases of development within the Detroit River East District, such as General Motors Winter Garden, Stroh's River Place, Harbortown, and the UAW GM Center for Human Resources. The redevelopment of the Detroit riverfront will use a combination of public, private, and philanthropic funds to encourage private investment. General Motors has already begun the redevelopment along the riverfront area with its purchase of the Renaissance Center and a commitment of $500 million to transform the complex into a world-class global headquarters.
When General Motors moved down to the Renaissance Center in 1996, we immediately embraced a broader vision as to what the riverfront could be.
This is a plan and a project which can truly be transformational. This is not a single building. This is not a one-time event.
It's really a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-century opportunity to really help Detroit be what it can be.
We want people from around the world to come and enjoy our riverfront, to come down here as a traveler, as a tourist.
The cornerstone for the entire riverfront redevelopment, the 3-mile Detroit River Walk linking downtown Detroit with Belle Isle, is designed, in the words of its architects, to get people to the river as often and as easily as possible. The Riverwalk is the thread that binds together all the elements of the redeveloped riverfront, a ribbon tying a series of escapes, events, and experiences for people of all ages, 24/7, 365 days a year, in a safe, clean environment. Conceptual elements of the Detroit Riverwalk include a variety of shoreline treatments to define the river's edge, a divided pathway to accommodate a variety of activities. Gateway vestibules, where key north-south intersections connect the riverfront with upland communities. Viewing balconies overlooking the river. Lighted beacons located throughout the 3-mile span. And strategically located cafes, stores, benches, rest facilities, and other parkitectural elements to provide respite, recreation, and refreshment. The Riverwalk will redefine Detroit's riverfront for area residents, visitors, and the world, while accelerating the redevelopment of the entire riverfront district, from Jefferson Avenue to the river, and from Hart Plaza to Belle Isle.
The river itself sells the area, because as you're walking and you stop and you look out across and you say, oh, and by the way, there's Canada over there. That's Canada? Yeah, another country.
The Riverwalk is the key to the whole thing. If we can't get people down here initially to just walk along the river and enjoy it, then we'll never be able to get them to come down.
We're going to have a 3-mile stretch of water on a beautiful river that's accessible to everyone, where you can enjoy it every day. I think it will put a new front door on Detroit.
In the vision, the starting point at the western end of the Detroit Riverwalk is the existing Civic Center promenade and a redefined Hart Plaza that'll create a great new civic space for Detroiters. East of Hart Plaza, a new Port of Detroit facility will welcome Great Lakes cruise ships, river tour ships, dining ships, and historic tall ships to the city's new riverfront and the entire downtown area, marking a return of its maritime legacy to the Detroit riverfront.
Our current thinking relative to the port is to move it down close to Hart Plaza, essentially between the Renaissance Center and Hart Plaza.
With the growing interest in running cruise ships through the Great Lakes, Detroit should be a natural stopping point.
Well, the Port Authority building, as we have looked at it, would allow for ships and other passenger cruise ships and as well as freight ships to come and dock and get out and be able to experience Detroit and especially the waterfront.
Anchoring the center of the Detroit Riverwalk is Tricentennial State Park and Harbor, Michigan's newest state park and the first ever to be built in an urban area. The initial phase of the state park is situated on approximately 25 acres adjacent to the Riverwalk and incorporates the current St. Aubin Marina, which will be transformed into a transient harbor for boaters. Tricentennial State Park and Harbor represents a considerable investment from the state of Michigan and will offer city dwellers, state residents, and visitors alike a world-class state park experience in the heart of Detroit, serving as a gateway experience to discover Michigan's state parks, creating educational opportunities for school children, and empowering Detroiters to embrace conservation careers. In the areas closest to the new residential developments, a more traditional neighborhood park experience will feature activities such as ballparks and playgrounds.
Well, I think it's tremendously noteworthy that the state is putting a state park in the city of an urban center, Detroit, and they're going to have it free, which is unusual for state parks.
The state park we're very excited about. It'll be sort of the first real park initiative in the city's history, I believe. It's a phenomenal approach to bring a park to an urban area that the state and the city and the county have teamed up to do.
The concept behind the Tricentennial State Park is to provide the citizens of Detroit the opportunity to experience what the broader array of state parks have to offer.
Further east along the Detroit Riverwalk, existing Mount Elliott Park and the U.S. Coast Guard Station will serve as an entryway to a newly sculpted and reclaimed Uniroyal site, and as a gateway to historic Belle Isle Park. The vision calls for an ecologically and environmentally designed park closest to the Detroit Riverwalk, giving way to mixed-use residential and retail development to the north. The Uniroyal site provides Detroit with an opportunity to create a textbook case history for reclaiming a previously industrial site.
The Uniroyal site is an interesting opportunity, probably a more passive park experience than the other park areas, with the opportunity to sit and read a book, to just watch the river go by, as opposed to a real active park.
We'll have a park aspect to the Uniroyal location, as well as some residential components that would be off of Jefferson.
Throughout the length of the Riverwalk, north-south streets will be enhanced to provide greater access to the riverfront and its neighborhoods. For example, as part of the first phase of the development, 2 of the existing north-south streets will be reconstructed from Jefferson to the river, allowing them to integrate the riverfront with the rest of the city and to make it more accessible to the public. In addition, the vision calls for the DeQuinder Cut, a former rail line that goes under Jefferson Avenue, to become part of an interconnected regional rails-to-trail system, providing public access from the city north of Jefferson to the riverfront area. At this very moment in time, under the leadership of Mayor Kwame M. Kilpatrick, Detroit is in an unprecedented position to redevelop our riverfront. 300 years after its founding on the river that bears its name, Detroit will create one of the country's premier waterfronts.
I'm sure that with the leadership of General Motors, Detroit Renaissance, the mayor, and our own involvement, that we can do this.
Just come on, join, and the question should be raised, what can I do? What contribution can I make?
When this is pulled off, and it will happen, and will happen in an outstanding fashion, it will be world class.
I think our message is, come on down, it's going to be beautiful, and we want you down here.
The vision of Detroit's new riverfront is clear. Now it is up to all of us to make it a reality, to return the Detroit River to its rightful place as the heart and soul of Detroit.
See you soon at the waterfront.